My name is James Junkin. I am the Chief Executive Officer of Mariner Gulf Consulting and Services, and I also serve as Chairman of the Veriforce Strategic Advisory Board. I've been in safety now for almost 15 years. I've been an executive for 25 years, and I guess in my role as an executive, safety was a strong consideration as a vice president, later president and CEO of a small independent oil company in Alabama. But since I got into consulting, safety has been full-time for me for almost 15 years. Actually, I heard about NASP from LinkedIn, and it intrigued me. Certification is always a part of consideration in the hiring process. And I grew up in the oil and gas industry, branched out into construction, some maritime, manufacturing, those type industries. And during that time frame, I myself ran into a lot of very qualified safety professionals. And the hiring clients that were employing these safety professionals were at the same time trying to quantify what makes a safety professional, what designation, what criteria do we use when we select a safety professional. And so, of course, all of us heard about BCSP, and I do hold a CSP with BCSP, but I had that later in my career. After I went back to school, got my degree in occupational safety and health. And what intrigued me the most about NASP is all of these safety professionals that I know, that I've worked with throughout the years, that are highly qualified to go out there and to implement companies' safety management systems. They were sort of left out based on criteria, largely around the degree requirement. So when I saw NASP on LinkedIn and I started researching it, I said, this could be the certification answer for those extremely qualified safety professionals who've been doing this for 47 years, but lack a designation. So that intrigued me, and I did some research and met your organization and went and took the MSP certification exam and found it to be very practical. And the questions within the exam, really, an individual holding that certification has the skill set necessary to go forth and implement a company's safety management system on a day-to-day basis. Well, at the time I took the MSP, I already had the CSP. But as a business owner and as someone who is influential, if you will, trained a lot of people over the years, spent a lot of time on podcasts and things, I wanted to set an example that this is a good certification. It's a certification that I endorse, and I'm willing to put my name behind it to influence others that this is something that they can do to enhance their careers, to get hiring clients to understand, hey, this is NASP, we're open for business, and we have certification programs that can help qualify safety professionals, particularly in the hiring process. So I wanted to go out there and lead from the front and say, this is something I endorse. I have it. I use it in my post-nominals all the time. And the instructors that I train, particularly in the oil and gas industry, many of them are not going to qualify because they've not been to college, or they have not completed college. So they've not met degree requirements of other certification programs. And NASP offers a path forward for those very experienced safety professionals to continue to grow and to have some recognition of their accomplishments, and perhaps that helps them in employment opportunities. Well, at the time, I did not, primarily because I already have a whole bunch. I've got the CSP, the MSP, the SMS, the ASP, COSHO, and at some point, it just kind of looks like you're bragging, so to speak, So I did not, but I will tell you this. For those particularly new safety professionals who are learning how to be the safety director, and in the oil and gas industry, work's all performed by contractors. And so many times, particularly in smaller organizations, you have people running and responsible for the safety department, if you will, of that organization that may have less than 2 years experience. So the one thing I like about NASP, and I'm really glad that you guys do this, you offer a mixture of certification, but also training. It's not just, hey, we got certifications, you can come out here and take a test and you can get the MSP or you can get the CSD. You can come and learn your craft, learn your trade to build up to these certifications. And I think that's extremely important as we are doing more with less. We are challenged when it comes to the labor force. I mean, I read a statistic this morning that over 40% of the accidents involving workers with recordable injuries occur in the first 90 days of their employment in the latest data. So it's important when we're dealing with a less experienced workforce that the safety professional have all the skills necessary in their toolbox to identify hazards and put appropriate controls in place to implement a safety management system. And I think NASP offers the best variety of courses and certifications for the safety professional from a practical standpoint. Well, I've been doing this a while, so I hold a bunch of OSHA certifications, and I'm a lifelong learner. So I felt like I was prepared based on my life experiences, the courses I had with OSHA, some of the things that I've gone through in my collegiate career to help prepare me for the exam. What I can say about the exam is content on the exam test the practical knowledge that you're going to need to know on a daily basis to implement your organization's safety management system. It is focused on concepts and problem solving that you will see in your job. So I would say it's extremely practical. It's knowledge that you need to know. There are a lot of resources that can help you prepare for the exam. But the one thing I like about this course of courses you have, and also this certification. Many other certifications, it's about preparing for the exam. And the knowledge that I need to pass this exam is not very useful for me on a day-to-day basis post the exam. The NASP exam tests the knowledge that you're going to need for the rest of your career. And if I could center it around certain areas, I'm a big proponent of life-saving rules. That the only way we're going to bend the serious injury and fatality trend is by controlling hazards in the design phase of the work and educating workers on life-saving rules. And if we have to violate this rule, then we probably need to stop the job, right? Everything inside the exam is centered around knowledge that a director level safety professional needs to know to implement life-saving rules within their organizations. So I think it's a good test of practical knowledge, useful knowledge, things that I use as a consultant on a daily basis with my clients. Well, I am the CEO, but I'll tell you what it has done. And as the owner of the company, I cannot advance much further in my employment. But I'll tell you what it has done. Throughout my career, I don't know that I'm any more knowledgeable post-examination than I was before. However, it's opened a lot of doors for me. And what I mean by that is a lot more people care what I have to say about given topics. I seem to have more published articles now. I appear on more podcasts now. I'm invited to speak a lot more. So for me as a professional, it really hasn't enhanced my career within my organization, but it has enhanced my exposure and the credibility of what I'm saying. I like to say this all the time. People really didn't care what I had to say until I got these letters behind my name, and all of a sudden I became a lot smarter. Well, I don't think I became a lot smarter, but people validated that against the credentials. And they said, okay, this guy's got these credentials. We want to listen to what he has to say and see if it makes sense. I highly recommend the MSP. I recommend it to those within my organization. I've had several that have signed up and are prepared to take the exam. I recommend it to those that are looking for a credential to validate their experience. And the one thing I'd like to brag on NASP a little bit about is the different pathways that you have to the top certification. Other certification bodies, they only have 1 or 2 pathways to get there. NASP has 4 different pathways to get to the top certification, Master Safety Professional. So I encourage people, particularly if you're looking for that validation, whether you have a college degree or not, particularly if you don't, but you're looking for an organization that values experience. And safety is a mentored trade that values that experience. Take a look at NASP and see if that certification program meets your expectations and the needs for you in your professional career. I am thankful for NASP. I am thankful for NASP because NASP is not just a certification body. It's not just a test. NASP can enhance your entire career, whether it's hands-on training in critical areas like confined space or 40-hour HAZWOPER, its online training portfolio. NASP is my go-to for professional development when I recommend it to my staff and for myself. So I'm endorsing it, and I'm really thankful that you guys have committed to what I call real occupational safety and health training with a diverse portfolio. And it's not just a certification exam, but you do have certification exams to validate the knowledge. So thank you for what you do at NASP.